I never expect just a regular game from grizzlygames. With Islanders I was expecting a city builder, but in reality the game is closer to a puzzle game than city builder. With Thronefall I was no longer expecting to find just a simple tower defense, surely there would be something different, and, again, I was not mistaken. Since you are here, don't leave without leaving a like or a comment. I would gladly appreciate a sub if you are into indie games, and do not forget I also give the news, like some sort of poor man CNN. Win-win. Thanks a lot. Thronefall is not a conventional tower defense. It drinks for more concepts, making it different. But certainly not better than the original proposals, only different. That premise in itself is quite promising at this stage of early access, where content isn't plentiful yet, but it is very promising. I only know this from the history of the game. We have to organize our kingdom and defend our castles against enemies. It works and it is, indeed, catchy. Have you ever listened to something like this? Of course not. Graphically, a style very close to a cartoon in a color palette that always focuses on a single color that better represents the scenario, something that works quite well in this game. The music only starts during battles and it's clearly medieval music. Of course I didn't expect anything very different, but obviously it works quite well. So why is the game original? It is different because it does not let us choose the structures we build, nor the place where we place them, leaving us only to choose their evolutions, if any, or the type of unit that it produces. On the one hand, it gives us the comfort of knowing that we are surely going to put the building in a position where it works, but on the other hand, it cuts off a lot of the freedom we are used to have. We live a lot on the money we get from each wave of enemies, and I quickly realized that the best way to play is the one where we get the most gold in each turn, and that was always my priority, optimizing all my buildings to be able to produce the greatest amount of gold possible, trying to destroy the enemies with the minimum number of troops I could during each turn. Of course I didn't expect the game to be balanced at this point, but there are really units that are much more useful than others, and as soon as we unlock them, we rarely use some of the others. There are several structures that we can build, but in general there are those that produce gold, those that produce troops, and there are physical barriers like walls and barricades. In the last level that we have access to, there is also a building that allows us to research and assign buffs to characteristics such as greater defense in melee combat, for example. Even the enemies and the composition of the waves don't seem very balanced to me sometimes, with some clearly being more problematic than others, and their distribution in successive waves doesn't sometimes make them very progressive in difficulty. There is a progression system in the game, since as we beat new levels we gain experience and level up, and at each new level we unlock a series of buffs and debuffs that can later be used to beat the different objectives that each of the scenarios offers us, since just beating the level is just one of them, and we have the option of increasing the challenge to get more points. We have an active part in the action, since we are the king of our kingdom and we ride a horse in the middle of the fight, and we can, in a very simplistic way, control our troops, basically telling each one of them where to position themselves. Our character also has different builds that make him more useful in some situations and more useless in others. Thronefall only seems to offer the first part of a game that takes us only to the first boss. There is the promise to add much more. At the moment the game costs €7 and for the fun it offers, it's worth every cent. The way it grabs us and cradles us during a huge succession of rounds that we repeat with pleasure suggests that this game has everything to be a success. It won me over right away. See you next time, guys. Bye.